what in the hell is going on in Los Angeles?
I'm scared. I'm really scared. This is not good. I don't think it's to the point like where, the ship is sinking with the Titanic, but it's like the iceberg is on the way, and it's like you better do something to course correct this because we're headed straight for it. Look, even with LeBron and Anthony Davis back on the court, it's just they haven't been producing. Dude, are you okay? Are you okay?
I didn't expect you to be like, I'm scared. I didn't expect that at all.
I mean, I gotta tell the truth when I see it. So,
oh, guys, that's how you know this ain't scripted. I'm crying. Oh shit.
Yeah, the Lakers are in a world of trouble right now, simply just because they've been playing really inconsistent basketball. When you look at the last 10 games that they've played in, they're 3-7. They're on a 3-game skid, and that was with LeBron coming back into the lineup this past weekend after he took 6 weeks off to recover from his high ankle sprain in the middle of March. And even before that, they had Anthony Davis integrated back into the lineup, and they were still losing games. They were only they were like 1-3, 1-4 in the 5 games that AD played in before LeBron came back this past weekend. And the one thing that really troubles me about this Lakers squad right now is their defense has been atrocious. They played the Toronto Raptors a couple of days ago, and they gave up over 120 points to a mediocre Raptors team. And in the process of that, Kyle Lowry and Pascal Siakam managed to score almost 75 points between the both of them against the Lakers. And this is against a team that has defensive stalwarts in Anthony Davis and Andre Drummond. And yet you still get, I wouldn't say torched by Toronto. They didn't blow them off the court, but they won the game by 7. I think the score was like 121 to 114. Toronto is not that good of a team, and that's a team that the Lakers should beat fairly convincingly just to kind of show that they're a team that to be reckoned with in the Western Conference and not lose to scrub teams. Not only that, they played against the Washington Wizards last week. The Wizards gave them another L. And in the same process, the Lakers couldn't defend. They were giving up way too many points. And when you look at this team is so top heavy with LeBron and AD carrying most of the weight. And now that both of them are back, well, now LeBron's not even really here because he's out for tonight's game.
He left the last game early, right? He left the Raptors game early with the ankle aggravation.
Yeah, he had some right ankle soreness last night's game. That was Sunday night. So it's going to go back to AD being the predominant player to focus on for the Lakers until LeBron comes back from this ankle issue. And I don't think that the Lakers are really going to be in a position where they're going to be that good. They're in the 7th spot right now. It's like you mentioned at the beginning of the episode. They went from the 2 seed to the 7th seed in what, 2.5 months? Somewhere around there. And if they're not careful, they may fall into a situation where they fall all the way down to the 8th seed. Granted, the Grizzlies are 32-31, and they're currently 3.5 games back at the Lakers at the 7th spot. If the Lakers don't fix this now, the Grizzlies could overtake them. I don't bank on it. I'm just saying that the possibility is there. I really thought that once the Lakers got LeBron and AD back, that they would probably end up somewhere around the 4 seed, simply just because I knew that they were going to take some steps back with AD and LeBron being out of the lineup for so long in that 2.5 month gap from February until April. But with both of them back, they're actually playing worse. They actually played better basketball with both of them off the court. Now, I don't think that's like a long-term solution that the Lakers should be looking for, but still, you expect these guys to be playing at a much higher level than what you're getting on the court right now, and it's just not happening. It's just, listen, I want to get your take on this simply just because I could go on and on about this, but the Lakers are in some trouble right now. and it's legitimate trouble.
I mean, I really can't say more than what you said because it's a lot of reiteration. Their two stars have been out for quite some time. Anthony Davis is more than likely dealing with an Achilles injury in terms of significance. They're always saying it's calf tendonitis. It just, you have to take that so carefully and slow. So his minute restriction, him still kind of getting back into the groove of things is going to take some time. I'm looking at his numbers just from the Toronto game, 33 minutes, 9 boards, 7 assists, 12 points. He wasn't really able to get it going. Toronto really found ways to kind of snub him and keep him in check. LeBron James obviously re-aggravated whatever injury he had on his ankle once again. And as you had stated, he is out for tonight's game. So when you really break it down by roster, you have Markieff Morris, Ben McLemore, Montrezl Harrell, Talen Horton-Tucker, Kyle Kuzma, Alex Caruso, Caldwell Pope, Drummond, Braun, and Davis. That's usually the active players that continuously get minutes in a competitive game, minus any blowout games where you put in kind of like the tail end, last couple of people at the end of the bench. But if you look at this roster and take out the top two names of Braun and AD, your best offensive threat is Kyle Kuzma
or Dennis Schroeder.
And Dennis Schroeder is out to protocol. Now, again, I'm not up to snuff on whether or not that's COVID protocol or him being out for precautionary purposes. Nevertheless, you have two players right here that have never been a true number one on any team they've been on. Obviously, Kuzma's obviously been on the Lakers his whole career. And Dennis Schroeder has bounced around the league for a little bit, but he's never been a number one option. He's usually been a career backup. So you're sitting here looking at, so I got a backup point guard, a second-round draft pick who is hot and cold, to say the least, very inconsistent. Mm-hmm. You have Montrezl Harrell, who is a beast on the inside, but he's been dealing with his own injury, so I know they've been limiting his playing time as well. Ben McLemore had his super hot start when he came to LA, and obviously he has since cooled off. He played about 10 minutes, had 0.0 boards and 0 assists that night. And then Markieff Morris is playing like ass. He's not really producing that much. You know what I'm saying? He took a massive pay cut to come back to the Lakers. He's not having a good season. Talen Horton-Tucker has come out of his shell, and he has proved to be a very viable piece off the bench with 14 and 7 in 22 minutes. Very nice. I do like the player that he's developed into. But, I mean, like, everybody's so high on Alex Caruso. He had 4, 5, and 7 in 26 minutes. I mean, yeah, he's getting rebounds. He's passing the ball a little bit. He's scoring in small waves, but these players have to contribute more on the offensive side of the basketball. And like you said, defensively, they're just playing like shit. I mean, Kyle Lowry had 36 at the age of 35. You're telling me that Pascal Siakam, the former most improved player of the league, a former all-star, who's had an absolute atrocious season, comes back and drops 39 and 13 against the defending champs? Mm-hmm. Bro, you're kidding me? AD still played 33 minutes and Braun still played 28 minutes. Somebody has to check him. Somebody has to get in there. And if your best two players are unavailable or on restriction or are not playing up to par and you rely on the rest of this roster, no disrespect, but they're not going to win games. It's exactly why they have fallen in a very competitive and stacked Western Conference. There are literally teams going in waves of win streaks and then massive losing streaks. It's like the West is like a massive, like inconsistent ocean this season. We've had literally like the Lakers be the 2, now they're the 7. The Utah Jazz have teetered up and down with Phoenix for the majority of the season. The Clippers have gone from 2 to 5. The Mavericks have gone from 10 to 5. The Blazers have gone from 8 to 4. The Nuggets have gone from 7 to 3. Like, it is the definition of unorthodox seasons. Normally the West, like Kyle and I were talking about prior to the episode, being very top heavy. But with the Lakers having this struggle and the play-in tournament that's coming, if the Lakers continue to hit this skid and Braun misses more time, the Lakers could fuck around and literally hit the 8th seed and be bounced in that play-in tournament if they have a bad enough game. Andre Drummond, we know, is going to get you boards. Andre Drummond, we know, is going to get you 10 to 15 points on a consistent basis. But if you're sitting here and relying on the company of Andre Drummond to make layups, alley-oops, and some dunks, Kyle Kuzma to catch fire and hit some jump shots, Talen Horton-Tucker to run the pick and roll and get some easy looks at the basket, and Ben McLemore to shoot the lights out, you're asking for a lot of role players to play consistently well for the remainder of the season.
And even Casey,
granted,
Go ahead.
Granted, this roster is not bad. If this roster was on, if some of these players were on other teams, they would be happy. I would be happy to have Ben McLemore come off my bench. I would be happy to have Montrezl Harrell come off my bench for the Mavs to have some gritty, some physicality. I would be happy to have Alex Caruso come off the bench and play a little bit more of a defensive presence so he doesn't have to focus on all of these other things that you guys have him focusing on. But I don't. You guys do. And for whatever reason, Frank Vogel can't get you guys on the same page. And you guys are just playing bad basketball. And like Kyle said, even as a basketball fan, to see the Lakers start as hot as they did, lose their 2 stars relatively early in the second half of the season, to fall as far as they have now is bad. And I mean bad. If you're a Laker fan, you definitely need to worry because this is not okay. And if Braun misses any more time, you might fuck around and hit that 8 seed and be bounced out real quick in that tournament.